my goodness. Brooklyn Vaughan? Oh my, you're in person.
Yeah.
Oh, is this not a Zoom? This isn't Zoom. We're a real human being.
I know. Hey, life is good. We're back in person. Holiday drinks are back at Starbucks, and 'tis the season for some hoops. We're going to talk about all that and more, but first,
Let's take a time out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Temple Timeout episode. I'm Nate Stanley, joined by Brooklyn Vaughan. Thank you for tuning in.
And it's a little bit of a change of location for us this week. If you cannot tell, we are here at the Liacouras Center. It's our first in-person show, and as long as we can remember, and we're so excited to be back in person, we are going to talk some hoops in a little bit. But first, before we do, let's take a look back at the tough beatdown that Temple football had this past weekend against UCF.
The Owls defense struggled to keep UCF out of the end zone. The Knights pounded the ball inside, scoring 3 touchdowns, shutting Temple out in the first half. The second half was not much better as the defense let 4 more touchdowns in. Turnovers also proved to be a huge problem. The Owls had missed opportunities as they failed to keep the ball secure.
And Temple hopes to snap their 3-game losing streak as they head down to Greenville, North Carolina this weekend to take on the ECU Pirates. The game will start at 12 o'clock, and you can catch that on ESPN+.
And here's what Rod Carey had to say about remaining optimistic heading into this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Winning breeds winning, and losing can, breed that frustration that you're talking about. And, our attitude, our guys fought the entire day, put in a really bad situation, got a goal line stand right there, and so they kept fighting. But certainly there was frustration, but they were fighting through the frustration too. This team is a together team, they are, and we'll continue. It's being tested, I can tell you that, but they're fighting for each other.
All right, Nate, now hearing from Ron Carey and seeing all that you've seen from this team and his coaching staff this season, what are your thoughts thus far?
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm not happy with this season. I don't see many Temple fans being happy with this season. If it weren't for some garbage time points last week, Temple would not have even been on the scoreboard. They would have been shut out. I think that this brings to light a lot of issues with communication. Vaughan mentioned that in the press conference last week. And it just makes you think, like, what is the future of this program? What does it look like coaching staff moving forward? That is left to be answered. But what do you think?
I mean, I think there is so much to kind of take a look at in terms of why this team has not been successful this year. For a team that has been always able to stand strong within their defensive presence, it just hasn't been there. They've been getting run over week in and week out, and it's very atypical to see out of this team and this program. So I think you're right in the sense that there's a lot to question if you're a fan of this team moving forward. And I think that as Arthur Johnson, the new athletic director, makes his way into Temple, I think that maybe that can become a question about the coaching staff and about the future of this program.
Yeah, Brooklyn, but one bright spot this season has been the return to the field for the marching band. Olivia Benner takes a look at what this has meant for some of those members.
The Diamond Band has returned after a year of virtual performances. Band members expressed their discouragement from last season, but are excited to take the field at the Link, some taking their first steps this season.
I remember just being in awe the entire time. I was just, oh my God, this is everything I thought it was going to be and more.
This season coming out of the pandemic has been met with its fair share of challenges. For those who don't know, the Diamond Band performs a new show for every home game. This season, the band worked through 3 new shows in the span of 3 weeks. And Dr. Barner gives all the credit to the students.
The students are very talented. Students are very capable of doing something like this.
Flashback to a year ago, the marching band scene was completely different, but COVID couldn't stop them from doing what they loved.
Because of how many people we could have out on the field at a certain amount of time, we actually split the whole band up into 4 groups.
The Diamond Band really is thrilled to be back.
Oh, it feels great to be back.
The Link isn't the only place you can see the band perform. The Diamond Band will be hosting its indoor concert this Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Temple Performing Arts Center. Admission is free. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Olivia Benner.
On Thursday night, Temple hosted the Cherry and White Night, an event that ushered in the basketball season. Both the men's and women's teams showed up to kick off the season, and there were raffles, 3-point contests, and other activities for fans to participate in. They were able to see performances from both the band and the spirit squads, and it was a great way to get the preseason buzz going.
All right, we told you that we were going to talk some hoops. As you can see, we are in the Leocora Center right now. The basketball team, the men's basketball team, is just getting their practice underway right now. So it's a perfect time for us to talk Temple hoops. And joining us to do so, you saw us teasing about our special guest on social media, and it is none other than our good friend, Luke Meli.
Hey Luke, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and start talking about men's hoops. Looking at the season, they were picked to finish 8th in the preseason poll. What's your take on that?
I think it's a little low. I genuinely believe that they're going to improve this year. Their 3 best players, I believe, are the guards, Jeremiah Williams, Damian Dunn, and Caleb Battle. I think these guys take a jump this year. I think it's a big development year for the team. Aaron McKee's obviously got all his recruits now. So I think things are going to start to come together. We're going to see the plan that he had for this team when he came in a few years ago. I think they're going to make a jump this year.
Yeah, and we see year after year Temple being ranked very low on these preseason polls, and most times they are able to improve from that preseason ranking. And you mentioned Aaron McKee does have his recruits now. It's no longer a team that he's adopted; it's guys that he has gone out and he can see that he can develop. So that should be interesting. Speaking of which, speaking about this men's team, any standouts for you this season? Who are you looking forward to see?
I mean, the guy that stands out to me the most is Caleb Battle. I mean, he led the team in scoring last year, the transfer. He's just so much fun to watch, and he's the best shot creator this team has. And I think for a team that lacks a lot of that, he's perfect, and they've got to rely on him. He was 3rd team All-AAC last year. I think he makes another jump this year. I think he's going to make the 1st or the 2nd team All-AAC, one of the top 10 players in this league. I really think with Temple's improvement that I see, I think he'll get more recognition, and I think he'll make a jump into the top tier of this conference.
Yeah, I also want to add in Jake Forrester. It is now his 3rd season here, and he has shown nothing but development and growth since he came here. He's a great guy under the basket, very strong, very dominant. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he can progress and head into the season.
All right, now let's go ahead and turn it over to women's hoops. That team finishing 5th in the preseason poll rankings. Of course, powerhouse Mia Davis also getting the nod of preseason player of the year. There are a couple strong veterans on that team, but for the most part, it's a young team. What's your kind of outlook on what to expect from them for this season?
Yeah, it's really unique because there's almost half the team is made up of freshmen or freshman-eligible players, but you have such important players returning in Mia Davis, Alexa Williamson, and Jaisha Clinton. I mean, I still think this team has some places they can fill holes, so I think they're still going to finish around that 5th spot like they did last year, like they're predicted to finish this year. But I like the women's team. I think anytime you can get back a player like Mia Davis, you're in for a good year.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Mia Davis has been so dominant, has been so good, not just on this team, but in the conference rankings. It's been really nice to see her, and now she does have that extra year of eligibility. So let's see what she can do with it. I think she's been a great leader for a lot of these young athletes, so we'll see how she can move forward. Now we are going to have to move into something that you said you are not looking forward to. I call him No Takes Meli because he does not enjoy spreading his takes. But, Luke, I'm going to force a couple out of you. Let's talk about end of the season predictions. I know it's way too early to even have an idea of how these teams could finish, but how do you see them? What do you see for these men's and women's teams?
Well, I think for the men's team, as I mentioned, I think they're going to make a jump. They're predicted to finish 8th again, and I don't think that's correct. I think they beat some of the teams last year that they're predicted to finish behind. They beat Tulsa, they beat UCF. They lost by 1 possession to Cincinnati a couple times. I think with the development of these guys, they're going to jump these teams. I'm looking at a top 5 finish in the conference for Temple this year, and I think they actually win a game in the conference tournament, unlike last year. I think we will see the development that I'm predicting. And then on the women's side, unfortunately, I feel like they're going to be at the same spot as they were last year, the same spot they're predicted. I think they could win a conference tournament game this year, but I think a 5th place finish for them is right on par, right where they're predicted. And I think Mia will go out with that conference win, but I don't think they get any further.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to disagree with you for a lot of that. I mean, I think the men's team is going to be able to make it to the American Conference, maybe get a couple American Conference tournament rather, maybe get a couple wins there. Who knows? You know, this team is known to surprise, some huge upsets during my time here. So we'll see. The women's team, I can see the women's team playing in March. You know, I know that's a crazy take, but I believe it fully. You know, I think that they have a lot of promise. As I mentioned, Mia Davis, we were talking about a number of other standouts. You know, I could see this team playing in March, but I mean, at the root of it, I'm just excited for basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's back. And Nate, you brought up a good point, too, before we started our program today. This is the first season in a long time that they're going to have a full arena of fans in the stands, and just to have that real game day experience back, it's going to be interesting to see how that contributes to the success of this team. We're going to be able to see the coaching staff really start to continue to push their agenda, like you said, having their recruits fully here and on board, and a lot of player development to look out for. But Luke Meli, great friend of the program, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Temple Timeout. This entire production was done without our amazing sports director, Jonathan. Jonathan, we miss you. We love you. We can't wait to see you again. That is going to do it for us, though. From the Leocora Center, I'm Nate Stanley. For Brooklyn Vaughan, Luke No Takes, Meli, and the rest of the Temple Timeout crew, thank you for watching.